Hey guys, so at this point it's been a little while since I've actually been able to film. There's been a fair amount going on between school and everything else that's been going on recently, so I thought I would take the chance to just step aside for a couple of minutes and actually do what I needed to do. Obviously my situation still hasn't changed, I'm working on it, but until I figure out if I'm going to continue to share a room with my sister for now due to the renovations, or if I'm going to end up with my own room in which I can actually set up a studio of sorts, I guess, get proper lighting. So I mean, I'm working off one light in the middle of the room in a purple room, which doesn't look very good when it gets dark outside, which is where I'm at this point. So today we are going to be looking at a show called, and I'm going to get it wrong, I will put it, hold my notebook, I will put it down here somewhere so that you guys can see what I'm talking about. Akashic Records of Bastard Magical Instructor. So I know that is kind of a weird title, but yes, it's actually called the Bastard Magical Instructor. Everyone knows it kind of as that, or as Akashic Records. So I don't know if you guys know them by that name. So basically it starts with this guy who's going to become a teacher against his will at a school. And at first he's a very lazy teacher. He says, okay, read this chapter, I'm going to take a nap, basically, in class. He's being forced to work now instead of just getting his living expenses done by a witch that he knows. So I mean, he used to be this top class kind of military guy. He was one of the kingdom's special forces, that a lot of people didn't know him unless they were in the criminal side. So he's been hiding out for a little while now and is being forced to take this teaching job now. So first things first. In the first episode, it's a comedy. I'm going to say this whole show is a comedy. It's meant to make you laugh. There's drama, there's action, but it's mostly a comedy. And because of that, he's supposed to be this awesome, great teacher. I mean, if he's teaching, he's been this badass. You know he's a badass. But in episode 1, he constantly loses duels to a student, like 3 or 4 in a row. And he just jokes about it. So for some reason, that all went down. It doesn't really explain it other than he doesn't want to do it, so he's not trying his hardest to do so. I mean, he figures this shit out basically by episode 2 or episode 3 because someone tries to basically rape his white cat, or the student he calls white cat, and he flips shit and whoops his ass even though he doesn't have a lot of magical power. There's a lot of swearing. I watched the dubbed, and it's kind of a toss-up right now whether I'm watching the dubbed or the subbed of different shows because it's kind of whatever's available in my country, because unfortunately a lot of stuff I can only find dubbed or I can only find subbed, even on illegal streaming sites, which I do have to watch from sometimes depending on what's available where I am, because I do a lot of traveling right now. So in the same episode, as well as multiple episodes afterwards, there's attempted kidnapping and murder of multiple different people, including a hidden princess, our white cat, the main character himself, as well as the queen, which you come to know throughout the series. So the queen also ends up with this cursed necklace, and I don't exactly remember the terms because of the cursed necklace, but she couldn't tell anyone that it was cursed or it would kill her, and you couldn't say specific things or tell your true feelings about her daughter or it would kill her. And seeing as she's the queen, you kind of don't want her dead. So it made it really hard for our main character to try and get around this while still not killing his queen, who he's still loyal to at the time. So the show's kind of random in a sense that there's battles that you don't really foresee coming. There's a lot of action that you don't foresee coming and kind of doesn't make sense at the time, but it figures itself out as you go, basically. Our main character, Sisty, who I'm going to continue to call White Cat because that's what I really know her as, because White Cat, White Cat, White Cat, that's all she was called by this teacher throughout the actual show, which made it interesting in the sense that he refused to call her by her name, and she did not want to be called White Cat. So you get to see her anger over it. But she's gone over the top dad. Like, I don't know, he is dramatic. He cries over every little thing. He forgets things all the time, and then acts as if he didn't know it was going to happen. And I know those parents kind of drive me insane. Kind of like Hanuhi's dad from Oran, high school host club, in a way that he's also a little bit over the top. Maybe not the best comparison, but it's the one that's kind of in my head at this point. I mean, it's not exactly a graphic show. There's no, like, brutal deaths like Another, but it is definitely bloody. And if you kind of get sick at the sight of blood, don't watch this one. As comedy-esque as it is, it's also really bloody, and that makes it kind of difficult for people who don't like the sight of blood to watch. So there's also a forced wedding. Sisti almost gets forced into marrying some guy against her will, and I'm not going to say who it is, and I'm not going to say why, because that is complete spoilers, and I don't even want to get into that whole thing because it's ridiculously annoying, and it made me really mad, and I almost rage quit the show. But because I totally kind of shipped her with her teacher, our main character. But she ends up with blood all over her again. I mean, the main character gets into a fight with people from his past who are also Secret Service kind of people, and that causes her to basically be kidnapped from her own wedding, and then he makes her run off, and she gets blood all over her dress, so she's running with a bloody white dress, and basically she turns around and rips the dress bottom off so she has moving room, and fights alongside him against his will, which kind of, which is cute. I really enjoy it. The White Cat name is from, it's basically he reminds her, she reminds him, Sisti reminds him of a friend of his in the past that died called Sarah, which he also called White Cat. And I guess the personality itself was enough that it made him basically consider her his new White Cat. I mean, I have a particular love for magic schools. I mean, I've seen a lot from The Familiar of Zero to, I can't think of another example right now, but I mean, I've seen a lot of magic high schools. I've seen a lot of magic schools overall, not just the high schools. But this one's got to be one of my favorites. I mean, I laughed, I cried, I raged, I got mad, but I still fell in love with the show, and it's one that I will watch again no matter what. I mean, I'm on a streak of ones that I'll watch again. There were a fair amount. I mean, there was a couple in between that I would not finish. I watched 1 or 2 episodes and couldn't do any more. But this is one that I love, so I'll watch it again. There's no doubt. I'll wait a couple of months and I'll show it to a couple of friends. Maybe we'll watch it at Anime North together. It's a short, sweet one, I believe, of also 12 or 13 episodes, which makes it really quick to watch, 3 hours or so. So that's what I thought of this one. I really enjoyed it. If you guys think it's something that you will like, the information will be in the comments below like always. And I will talk to you in a bit.